Hello and welcome to Fun with Floral Art. I'm Laura and today I'm going to make an arrangement in a bowl. So I'm sure you've all got a bowl like this in the house because we don't always need, expensive fancy vases and things like that. Sometimes you can just use things that you already have in the house, and this is just a perfect size and I really like the colour of it as well. So I've got two of these, the one that I'm going to use, I've already filled with floral foam. Sometimes that's a bit like doing a jigsaw puzzle. So I've used 1.5 bricks of foam. And as you can see, I've got the foam higher than the rim because I eventually want a kind of a rounded shape. So this piece is, I ended up cutting out of one of them and I've beveled it. So I've got more of a rounded shape than the square one that I had to start. So just in case this decides to sort of move around, I can anchor it by putting a skewer down through the middle, and that will hold it all together. Might put one more in, and then I don't need to worry about it going anywhere. So that's pretty firmly fixed in there now. So for my materials, today I've got some roses, and it's very warm today, and so they've opened up quite a lot. If you don't want your roses to open, you can keep them in the fridge overnight, but I did want these ones to open, so that is certainly what they have done. I've also got some little green apples which are fallen off the tree, and I'm not sure what these are called. I think they're actually some kind of a weed, but they're really amazing looking anyway, so I'll be using those. And a little bit of green foliage to fill in the gaps. Alright, so I've got my turntable ready as well so that I can work from all sides. It's very handy to have one of those, and my scissors. So I want this to be a sort of a dome shape in the end, and the centre is going to be the focal area of this arrangement, so that's where the larger blooms and other material will be, and smaller ones around the outside. So just look at the roses that I've got. This one is probably, or this one, the bigger ones that I've got. So give it a little fresh cut, and that will be my centre flower. So the eventual height should be about 1.5, 1.25 times the height of the bowl for scale. So this one is also quite big, so I'm not going to place that straight up like I did that one because I want a rounded shape. I'm going to put this one in at a bit of an angle. So already I've only put 2 things in and I've already got a nice little curve happening there. So this one's got a couple of little buds on it. So I can put that one on that side. So I've got already a bit of a dome shape happening. So you don't always need to spend a lot of money and to go to the florist or even the supermarket and get a lot of flowers. Sometimes you can just use things that you have around. This is a shorter one. Roses always need a fresh cut. These ones are quite small, so they'll go around the edges. one more very small one. So that can go around there. So that's all my roses in place. So now I'll put in some of these. And I've left a little bit of foliage on these ones as well. And I'd already cut them, so they're pretty well ready to just go straight in. And I want them just slightly lower than the roses, because the roses are really the star of the piece. And I'm filling in the gaps. They're very textural. There's not too many things that flowering or starting to flower at this time of the year, so have to try and find what we can. And it's good if you can get things to slightly spill over the edge of the bowl. So again, the larger ones towards the centre. This one's, I'll have to lose that leaf because it's got some kind of bug damage. So this will be the centre one because it's got one stem, but it's got three. Bonus caterpillar. Taking a free ride. Funny caterpillar with spikes on it. I'm going to argue with him. Starting to look quite full now. So I've got some foliage there to fill in any little gaps that I might have. It is very handy having this turntable because the bowl is quite heavy. It's pretty solid, and once it's full of flowers it's also quite heavy, and it's much easier to spin it than to try and manoeuvre it while it's heavy. Now I've got my little green apples. Give them a little bit of a polish. I don't know if some of them have also got a little bit of a stalk on them, which is quite nice, so I'm hoping that I can just place them. And the smaller ones around the bottom, that one's disappeared. So if they won't just sit where you want them, you can stick a toothpick in. And then they'll, otherwise that was just going to fall in all by itself. Some of them are quite a bit larger. And you can go more towards the centre. Yes, because without the toothpicks they're not going to stay where you want them. You can incorporate fruit in your arrangements. I quite often use lemons in some of my arrangements. Nice fresh sort of summery looking colour scheme happening. I like the little stalks that are still left on some of them as well. Found most of these little apples on the ground under an apple tree. That one needs to go a bit lower. Not too many gaps here now. So I've still got this little bit of foliage here that I'll use to fill in any small gaps. So if you cut it just where the stem meets a leaf, then you've got a nice strong little bit of stem there. And this is a nice fresh green foliage. Sometimes the new growth is a little bit soft, but this is quite nice. Because you do need reasonably strong stems. I can get quite a few from this one stem. It's a filler, but it's also giving a nice little fresh contrast to the other shapes. Don't see too many more gaps. If you were using this as a table arrangement, you need to make sure that you've covered all of your foam, because if you've got somebody sitting at the table, you don't want them to see the foam, you just want them to see the arrangement itself. I think that's quite full now. So there we have it, an arrangement in a bowl. And all I used was a few yellow roses, some little green apples, some foliage and fairy contrast. Thank you for watching, and if you'd like to watch more fun with floral art, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.